These two hearing aids can cost more than a used car, and today I am opening them on camera. Inside this tiny shell are microphones, a speaker, a chip, a battery, and some plastic. So why are people being quoted $3, $5, even $7,000 for a pair? That is the question. Are you paying for breakthrough medical technology or for a locked system built around it? Because the most expensive part may not be inside the device at all. For a lot of people, the shock starts in a clinic chair. They go in expecting a medical device, maybe something expensive, and then they are handed a quote that looks like a home repair bill. $2,000 on the low end, $4,000 or $5,000 for a common mid-range pair, $6,000 or $7,000 for premium models, depending on the clinic, the technology level, the warranty, and the service package attached to it. That price usually is not just the two devices. It can include the hearing test, the fitting, the programming, follow-up visits, cleanings, repairs, loss coverage, and sometimes years of bundled care. Some people use every bit of that support. Others barely come back after the first adjustment. The problem is that customers often do not see those pieces separated. They see one number, one brand name, and one decision. Pay it, finance it, or walk away. Walking away has a cost too. Untreated hearing loss can change how someone works, how they communicate with family, and how safe they feel crossing a street or hearing an alarm. It can make conversations exhausting, turn restaurants into noise, and slowly push people out of social situations they used to enjoy. That is why this investigation is not about mocking hearing care or pretending professionals do not matter. A good fitting can make a real difference. The question is whether the price reflects the device, the expertise, the business model, or a markup customers were never meant to understand. So before judging the number on the invoice, I want to open the box and ask a simpler question. What are you actually buying? Inside the shell, the first thing you notice is how little empty space there is. This outer case is not just plastic shaped to look sleek. It has to sit behind the ear or inside the ear canal all day, survive sweat, skin oils, dust, and the occasional drop on a bathroom floor. Every curve is designed around comfort, acoustics, and keeping moisture away from parts that hate moisture. Near the top are the microphones. Most modern hearing aids use more than one because the device is not just making sound louder. It is comparing sound from different directions, trying to separate speech in front of you from traffic, dishes, wind, and background conversation. Down the other end is the receiver, which is basically the tiny speaker. In many receiver and canal models, this part sits inside the ear canal on a thin wire. It has to produce clear sound at very low power without turning into feedback the moment it gets close to the microphone. Then there is the power source. Older models use disposable zinc air batteries. Newer ones use a rechargeable lithium-ion cell sealed inside the case. That cell has to be small, safe against heat, and efficient enough to run all day while driving microphones, wireless radios, and sound processing. The circuit board is where the real engineering becomes obvious. It is packed with miniature components, an antenna for Bluetooth or proprietary wireless links, and a processing chip that analyzes sound thousands of times per second. It compresses loud sounds, boosts speech frequencies, reduces noise, controls feedback, and switches listening modes automatically. So no, this is not just cheap electronics in a beige shell. These are specialized, miniaturized, low-power medical devices built for a brutal environment. But when you compare that parts list to a retail price of several $1,000s, the hardware still does not explain the whole number. So the next question is where the rest of the money goes. A major part of the price is not sitting on this table. It is in the appointment where an audiologist measures your hearing loss frequency by frequency, then turns that test into a prescription for the device. A hearing aid is programmed around an audiogram, which means the software may boost high-pitched speech sounds a lot, leave low frequencies almost untouched, and limit sudden loud noises so they do not become painful. That first setup is not the final setup. The provider connects the hearing aid to fitting software, selects the receiver strength, chooses domes or custom molds, sets feedback cancellation, adjusts compression, and often uses a probe microphone in the ear canal to verify what sound is actually reaching the eardrum. Then come the real-world problems. Your own voice may sound blocked, a restaurant may be overwhelming, Wind noise may dominate. The device may whistle when you hug someone or ache after 3 hours because the dome size is wrong. Those fixes happen through follow-up visits, small physical changes, and software tuning. This is why many clinics sell hearing aids as a bundle. The sticker price may include the devices, the hearing test, fitting appointments, cleanings, future adjustments, warranty service, repair handling, and sometimes one-time loss or damage replacement. You are not just buying the object. You are buying access to the system that makes the object usable. That system has a darker side. Many hearing aids require manufacturer-specific programming cables, wireless interfaces, and professional software that regular customers cannot easily access. Replacement parts can be restricted. Firmware tools are usually controlled. Even simple changes may require an authorized provider because the device is designed to live inside a closed ecosystem. So the service is real, the expertise is real, the follow-up can genuinely matter. But when all of it is folded into one large upfront price, the customer cannot see what the hardware costs, what the care costs, and what the lock-in costs. That is where legitimate medical support starts to look like a gate. The gate stays expensive because the market behind it is much smaller than it looks. Walk into a clinic and you may see a wall of different hearing aid brands. Phonak, Unitron, Signia, Weedex, Oticon, Bernafon, Starkey, Resound. It looks like a crowded marketplace. Behind those names, the global industry is dominated by a small group of large manufacturers and parent companies. Sonova owns Phonak and Unitron. WS Audiology controls Signia and Widex. Demant owns Oticon and Bernafon. GN owns Resound. Starkey remains one of the major independent players. That consolidation matters because it shapes the entire supply chain. The same corporate groups often control the devices, the fitting software, the repair channels, the accessories, and sometimes even retail networks or buying groups. A clinic may feel independent to the patient, but the products available to that clinic can still come from a short list of manufacturers. Then, the pricing gets wrapped in a package. The customer is quoted one number for hearing aids and care, often several $1,000s. Inside that number may be the wholesale device cost, the provider markup, the hearing test, fitting time, follow-up visits, warranty coverage, office overhead, and the risk that some patients need many adjustments while others need almost none. The problem is not that every part is fake. The problem is that the receipt rarely separates them. A patient cannot easily compare the price of the device against the price of the professional service because the business model hides both inside one bundle. Insurance makes this worse. In many places, adult hearing aids are not covered, like surgery, medication, or eyeglasses. Some plans offer partial benefits. Some offer discounts through specific networks. Some offer nothing. So millions of adults face a medical device purchase as a cash transaction. That is the opening over-the-counter hearing aids walked into. If the traditional system was expensive, bundled, and hard to compare, a new category promising direct purchase and transparent pricing was going to feel like a threat. In 2022, the United States created a new legal category for hearing aids. For the first time, adults with perceived mild to moderate hearing loss could buy certain hearing aids over the counter without a prescription, without a required exam, and without going through a clinic. That change did not happen because hearing suddenly became simple. It happened because regulators recognized a gap. Millions of adults were living with untreated hearing loss, and one major reason was cost. If a person could understand speech in quiet rooms but struggled in restaurants, meetings, or while watching television, the old system often asked them to spend thousands before they even knew whether amplification would help. Over-the-counter hearing aids attacked that barrier directly. You could buy them online or in a store. The price was visible before the appointment that no longer had to exist. Many models used a phone app for setup, volume control, sound profiles, and basic hearing checks. Some offered customer support by chat or phone instead of repeated office visits. That is the real disruption, not magic technology, access. The gatekeeper moved from the front door to the fine print, but over-the-counter does not mean one size fits all. These devices are intended for adults with perceived mild to moderate hearing loss. They are not meant for children. They are not meant for severe or profound hearing loss. They are not meant to diagnose medical problems hiding inside the ear. There are red flags that should stop the purchase and send someone to a professional. Sudden hearing loss, pain, drainage, dizziness, ringing in only one ear, a major difference between ears, a history of ear surgery, earwax blockage that needs removal. In those cases, buying a device online can delay care for something that needs an examination. There is also the fitting problem. A good hearing aid is not just a tiny speaker, it has to manage feedback, background noise, speech frequencies, comfort, ear shape, and the way your brain adapts to sound again. Some people can handle that with an app. Others need real testing and real adjustments. So the honest version is this. Over-the-counter hearing aids did not prove that professionals are useless. They proved that consumers deserved options before being pushed into a high-cost bundle. The robbery was never that hearing aids have no value. The robbery was the lack of transparent, competitive choices. Now that the market has changed, the next question is practical. How do you know when a cheaper device is enough and when spending more is actually justified? So the takeaway is simple. The hardware inside these devices is genuinely impressive, but the pricing system around them is often impossible to see through. Ask for itemized quotes. Compare bundled care with unbundled options. Consider over-the-counter devices if your hearing loss fits. Get medical help for red flags. Thanks for watching. Comment with your quote, your brand, or what you want me to open next. A comparison test may be coming.